Alright folks, welcome back to another video with flyfishingwithjeff.com. And I've got a fly, it's a reverse tide fly that I'm going to show you today. I've been using it a little bit lately and I really like how it breathes and moves in the water. It's been very effective for me. Instead of using all bucktail, I'm going to use some polar fibers. So I'll show you a little of that. We've already got a hook ready to go. This is a Gamakatsu SL11-3H in size 1. It's a saltwater 3 times strong, and I like this hook. It's a little bit on the small end, but it works well with these fibers that aren't as large as the bucktail. And we're going to start with a little tail made of craft fur. This is Adams Dunn Gray. Okay, so we're going to come in here and find us a little tail section to pull off. And again, I've learned through the years that sometimes less is more, and it doesn't take a whole lot to really make a good looking fly. So we've got a little hank here of this craft fur. We're going to comb it out just a little bit, and we're going to come back in and trap those fibers, keeping it right on top like so. Move forward, and there's the tail of the fly. Now I'm going to grab some of this flash, and this is a silver flash. We're going to use two different flashes today, a pearl and a silver, and we're going to take not a whole lot right now, about 4 or 5 strands of this. We're going to cut it off right here, come back in, work our thread right back to the base once over the top, pull that back and tie it back in. Now again, those are a little bit uneven, and I kind of want it to look that way. I've got a shorter piece with a few longer ones, more erratic look to it, and again, it's right on the top of the fly. Okay, so now we're going to kind of get into the meat of this fly, and we're going to use these Ferrar's Flash Blend. This is Bleeding Gray, and we're not going to take a lot of fiber here, and again, we're reverse tying this. If you haven't worked with this stuff, it looks great. It's not as easy to work with as a bucktail would be. We're going to take, and we're just kind of work this together and give us a common access point. Again, we're reverse tying this, so we're going to lay this back in here. We're going to come over the top loosely now with a couple of turns. This is where you have to kind of be careful and figure out how to start to work this. Now the key is that we want these fibers all the way around the circumference of this hook. So I've only got 2 loose wraps, and I'm going to start working these fibers around so that they're around the entire barrel of the hook. Now I'm going to use a little thread pressure in my right hand, and I'm going to now turn the fibers back, and we're going to pull those all the way back and trap those, and I'm going to do that by trapping those fibers right there with some thread pressure. And this is a big fly in color white, 400 denier, so this is something that I can really kind of put some pressure on the fly. And we're going to come forward. So now there's our first section, and it's starting to come together. Again, we're going to go back to the Bleeding Gray here, and we're going to pull us out another section of the polar fiber, make our cuts. We're going to start to make, and I just kind of hand twist these, marrying these fibers together. And we're going to now turn it around and make 1-2 turns loosely. I've got the fibers laying out front. Now Swain, if you want, you can kind of clean those up just a dab and repeat the process now. And again, I'm trying to get those the fibers to go all the way around. And the rotational vise is nice because you can kind of give it a look and check and make sure. Now I got right hand on. I'm going to give it a little more thread pressure. Okay. And now I'm going to again pull these fibers back and lash those down and move the thread forward. And that's the process. Okay, we're not going to do but one more of these right here. We're going to come back for one more piece of the polar fiber. Again, these are Steve Farrar SF Flash Blend. And we're going to kind of give them a little bit of twist by hand. Bring those back up to the top. Loose, loose. Keep the fibers up on top. If you need to clean things up, right now is the time to do that. Okay, again, you'll get the feel for this, moving those fibers around the barrel, the outside of the hook. And we're going to bring those back. Comb those in, and this is kind of neat fiber because it's got this red running through it, and you know, anything red, the fish, a bait fish or a okay, so we ran our white big fly thread forward, and we're going to run just one piece of orange. I like to give this abdomen, the middle section, just a small red or orange look, especially with a silver bait fish here. So we're going to put in one piece here that will give it a little color, a little pop. Again, we're going to tie those fibers now backwards with a couple of loose wraps. We're going to start to work around. One more good tight turn. Pull the fibers backwards around the barrel of the hook. Okay, we're working those fibers all backwards. Right like so. And now we're going to trap those. 1, 2. And we're going to go forward. Okay, so we got a little bit of orange mixed in there. Okay, now we're going to finish this fly with bucktail. So we're going to go to a piece of gray. Oh, excuse me, wait a minute. I want to get my other flash in there. Let me move some of my pieces and parts out of the way. Now we're going to put a turn of flash in this fly. And this gives it a little pop, and I really like this. So we're going to take actually a pretty good hank of this pearl. Okay, let's get a few more of those, and we're going to twist it and reverse tie it as well. Let's see, how far will I need? We're going to try it right here. Okay, so we've got a hank of this pearl. We're going to tie these in now backwards. 1, 2, and again we're going to do the same thing we were doing with those fibers. We're going to try to get those fibers to go all the way around the barrel of the fly. Okay, using our thumb and forefinger. Now we kind of got it, and we're going to pull those back. Maybe a little bit more around the barrel here. There. And we're going to pull those back, and that's going to give that really cool flashy look right there. I'm going to come back in, tie that off, and now we're going to be ready to finish this fly. There, I like that. And again, we're going to come back. We'll trim this up a little bit here in a little while, or maybe not. We'll see what it looks like. But we're going to go to our gray bucktail, and we're going to finish with a shot of gray bucktail. So we're going to pull out our fibers here, make a cut, get rid of some of the loose ugly fly or ugly hairs here, and we're going to turn that around, and we're going to leave a little bit of a collar. So you can see I've got about maybe a half inch there, that we're going to leave about a half inch there. A couple of turns. I'm going to keep pressure with my right hand now on this bucktail as I start to turn this around. Now add one more turn, and as I start to tighten, it'll start to splay those front ends, and you can kind of see if we've got those wrapped around the barrel. One more time there, I think that's about right. And now we're going to turn those. There we go. Turn it inside out, pulling all the fibers back together. A couple of quick traps. Now is when we have to kind of form the head of the fly, so it's going to take some thread to go down and back up, and we're just building up that base of thread there. We can kind of do a little cleaning up real quick, get some of these wild hairs out of the way. Yep. And again, just a little more thread to get that base about right. And here is where we're going to decide how far to go back with our thread as to how tight we want this fly to be. If I stop here, I'm going to get more open on the fly. If I go further back, it's going to start trapping those fibers. So we're going to stop about right there. I like this, and I'll show you why here at the end. Allows this fly to really breathe. So we're going to come in, give it a quick whip finish right here, tie that off, and now you've probably, if you've watched before, seen that I like to use this product called Bondic, Bondic, Bondic. And it's just my choice as far as something to finish these flies with. And you have to understand, sometimes these get into some toothy situations, so we're going to put a little coating of Bondic right on top, and we're going to allow it to it's a UV cure, so we're going to allow it to work over the top of all these threads. We're going to trap those. We're squeezing just slightly to keep it eking its way out, and we want to cover all of those threads like so. And now we have our UV portion. We're going to turn it over, and we're going to start to rotate. Okay, and to be honest with you, I do most of it here, and then I'll show you I put it on a little piece of cork and set it out in the sun for a couple hours, and it really finishes the fly nicely. Okay, so that's the idea, and this is something that you can play with different colors, different sizes, thicknesses, and you may have to come back in here and trim. We probably will need to trim just a little bit of the fiber, but I like this fly, and here's what I want as we're looking at this fly. I want it to be a little elliptical like this, like a fish, and I want the bulk of the fly substance, the hair, the fibers, to be above the hook and less below the hook. And the reason is I want that hook hidden, but I don't want there to be so much fiber down there below that it inhibits the fish setting the hook. Okay, so there's what it looks like. I think it does need just a dab of trim. I like to use my round scissors here to come back and give it just a dab of trim, loosen out these fibers as you can see right here, maybe a little trim on top right there. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, because you're going to see that this fly is going to really breathe when it hits the water. So as you pull it, it will expand and breathe, and that's the beauty of all this, and there's a lot of flash here, so even in kind of a dirty water you'll be able to the fish will see it and it will get noticed, and that's what we want. So there's the fly. Now we're going to simply take a cork, put it on the cork, and at this point in time I usually set it out in the sun for a couple hours and really let that UV head cure. And I think if you learn how to turn these flies, whether it's bucktail or these fibers, this fly just looks so good in the water. Now I've gotten a lot of questions on eyes. If you're a person that wants to put an eye on there, then by all means go right ahead and do it. I am not sold completely on eyes, and often the ones I do put on there or buy, they fall off. So that's up to you at this point in time, but I catch a lot of fish without the eyes on there. So there's our fly. I hope you can get a good glimpse of that, and you may very well see that out in a future video of mine. I don't tie a lot. What I do tie, I try to make it be of high quality. And I like that fly. That looks really good. That orange in there kind of sets it off. The sparkle, the tail, it all kind of flows together. So there you go. Hope this is a pattern that you can use and will have great success with out on the water, because that's kind of what it's all about.